What's up, everybody? I'm here today to bring you another Mercury Retrograde video, which is very fitting because the last video that I did for this channel was on Mercury Retrograde, a whole 3, almost 4 months ago. So often on Mercury retrogrades, things come back into our lives. We go back to the acupuncturist. We go back to the book club. We return. So it's very fitting that I'm here talking to you today. So Mercury is retrograding in Aries, and Aries is the impulsive, excitable, passionate, I'm into it, I'm feeling it, I want to do it kind of sign. So we might find ourselves being too quick. So this could be a more challenging Mercury retrograde because we're too quick to assume that the email said that, or we're too quick to assume the emotion behind the text message was something else, or we respond too quickly without thinking about it first, and we overcommit ourselves to something when we realize that we already had something scheduled. Or, Mercury retrograde, we want to buy something. I want to buy the new coffee maker, or I want to buy, that CD. That's not that big of a deal. Where we really want to watch ourselves on Mercury retrograde is big impulse purchases that we might actually regret later on. You're probably not going to regret it too much if you make an impulse buy on an album, like I said. But if you feel rushed to buy a house and you think, this could be perfect, wait. Maybe on something like that, it's better to wait. That said, I do want to take a second and just say that there's a lot of stigma around Mercury retrograde. And on one hand, that could be a good thing because it gets people interested in astrology and paying attention. But on the other hand, I think it's dangerous to assume that our lives should be put on hold during Mercury retrograde, because Mercury retrogrades 3 to 4 times a year, which is almost seasonally. So think about that. Mercury rules the mind function, the voracious hunger of the mind to consume more and more information, to keep scrolling on your Facebook feed, to keep reading new material without putting it into practice. And then we kind of lose track of everything that we've taken in. So Mercury retrogrades are very useful periods to kind of go back and reflect and marinate in the material that we've absorbed. It's also a really good time to kind of reflect on our journey, reflect on our process, and garner a lot of valuable information and awareness from that period. So I like to think that the Mercury retrograde period is an integral aspect of the mental function. In order to fully take advantage of this gift that we have of the mind, I think it's important and again, an integral aspect of absorption, of absorbing the material and gaining better awareness and stance. Because if we're always constantly going forward, how can we possibly find maybe more gratitude or go back and redo something and make it better? If we're constantly going forward, we're going to miss things. So it's important to kind of go back and retrace our steps and contemplate things and maybe redo, revamp, remodel, tweak, create a new approach, see things that we didn't see. But anyways, this Mercury retrograde is in Aries. It's all in Aries. Sometimes Mercury retrogrades will start in one sign and then end in another sign, but this is total Aries. So it's kind of about like, what do I want? But, we all have Aries somewhere in our natal chart. Our natal chart has all 12 signs in it, all 12 archetypes inside of us, and they just show up in different ways for each and every one of us. So you have Aries somewhere in your chart. So I'm going to go through the signs and let you know kind of where to watch out for this trickster energy, because again, This one, we're going to have to be careful because we might like jump too quickly into things without thinking about them. So if you're an Aries, this is you. Mercury retrograde is in your sign. It's about, maybe going back and seeing how I'm showing up in the world, my awareness of self. And in general, this is in your sign, so you're going to have to be extra mindful. And as Aries people are, you're generally moving headfirst into things. So this is a chance to kind of pause. Practice the pause. Taurus, this is going on in your 12th house. This is a really great time to do the dream work, to take extra downtime for meditation and self-reflection, because the 12th house is where we stuff all the things that we don't have time to deal with in our psyche. So this is a great time if you've been in therapy before, maybe visit your therapist for a tune-up, or, not saying that you should go see a therapist, but I'm just saying that this is a time when a lot of things buried in the subconscious can come up. If you choose to engage it, there can be gifts that come up so that you can actually make more room in the psyche for new feelings and thoughts and patterns to come in that are perhaps healthier. Gemini, 11th house. This is your hopes and dreams, reconnecting with the hope and dream that you have for the world, reconnecting with a group or community that shares that vision of the group. So maybe rejoining the book club or rejoining the social justice committee, or just showing up at the protest. It's time to get back in the game, get involved with another group. Maybe that you used to be involved in, or, you catch my drift. Cancer, 10th house. There's going to be stuff with jobs and careers. So maybe the same issue comes up with your boss or coworker, or, someone else calls you to say, hey, I want to hire you again. If you're in that kind of world of commission. You hear from old clients that you haven't heard from in a while, that kind of thing. Leo, 9th house. This is the higher mind. Get back on your mat. Get back into your meditation practice. Start your 40-day practice. Or getting back into a habit that is supportive of your higher mind, higher understanding, or spiritual practice. So, recommitting to studying every day, or reading every day, or doing your yoga practice, something that supports your higher connection with the world at large. Virgo, this is happening in your 8th house. Similar to Taurus, this is also a time when a lot of things from your psyche comes up. But this one's a little different because it's also about maybe seeing how far you've come. It's about reflecting on your process, how much you've transformed and grown and evolved, and kind of reorienting your focus to see maybe what's next. This could also be an ending of some sort, or maybe someone coming back from your past, maybe someone that you broke up with or lost touch with, but it's more on an intimate level, that kind of person. Something might come back, maybe a past debt comes back. So little deeper topics there with Virgo. Libra, this is happening in your 7th house. You're going to hear from people that you haven't heard from in a long time. Clients, friends, maybe an old flame. You're going to hear from them again. Or if you're thinking of them, they're probably thinking of you, and so one of you should reach out and see what the message is. Scorpio, 6th house. This might be a health issue, a chance to reorganize things around the house and in your schedule. You might have to tweak something in your daily routine, or get back to something in a better routine. Maybe get back on the, if you know that you should be avoiding gluten, maybe, and you've been slipping, maybe tighten it up, bring it back in a little bit, because this is all about your health and your daily routine and like little details. So getting organized, Scorpio. All right, and in Sagittarius, this is the 5th house. This is the house of play, of enjoyment, of pleasure, of passion, of self-expression, creativity, and children. So Mercury retrograde issues around that. So maybe your children are gonna play a joke on you, and so that could trigger something in your mind that it's good to play, it's good to be mischievous, because Mercury is the trickster. He is a little kid. But maybe this is just, you get the little nudge that you need to just play a little bit more and try to just be on top of things if you have kids. So because, you don't want to forget about their homework, for example, or things like that. Capricorn, this is going on in your 4th house. This is issues with the home. Maybe things are going awry at home, things that you've known that you needed to fix for a long time. They could maybe finally bite the dust. This is a time to kind of think about what you might want to do to make updates around the home. This could also be a reoccurring issue with a family member that comes up, or a reoccurring issue with the home. Aquarius, 3rd house. Be prepared to have issues with electronics. The internet, the computer, the phone, something's been giving you grief for a while. Just be prepared for that. This could also be something with a sibling. You get back in touch with a sibling, you tighten up the bond, and you're hanging out this weekend. And also be Aquarius should be the most careful with messages and communication. Lastly, but not least, Pisces, in the 2nd house, you are probably going to be the most prone to the impulse buy, because this is happening in your 2nd house of money and possessions. So this could also be things breaking, but also there's that impulsive desire to buy. So if you're going to go on an Etsy binge, maybe give yourself a little cap to top it off at. You don't want to go over your spending limit. But yeah, you're going to be probably the most excited to buy things at random. So anyways, that is what I have for this Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde today. Today is March 22nd, and it is at about 17 degrees of Aries, and this goes on until April 15th, tax day. You better do your taxes if you live in the United States, or don't. That's cool too. Not that I'm advocating to not pay taxes, but you do whatever you want. But anyways, it goes back to about 4 degrees of Aries, and then it goes direct. So that's pretty exciting for us. So let's see how it goes, and best of luck navigating this Mercury retrograde. Satnam.